The kick incident. On a breezy afternoon in August 2025, a 25-year-old kick streamer was invited backstage to a wrestling event as a guest of the show. When the streamer showed up, a 39-year-old wrestler would see cameras and video recording equipment following the man and mistakenly think that he was another wrestler that was acting for a skit. The wrestler would jump into full-on acting mode. Upon interaction, the streamer would say that he doesn't know who the wrestler is, and the wrestler would take that as his cue to get into character. He picked up a canned beverage and smashed it on the streamer's head, leaving him completely baffled. The wrestler's partners would step in and immediately let him know that the streamer wasn't a part of their wrestling set. Surprised and deeply embarrassed, the wrestler stopped playing as his persona and apologized to the streamer. And, reasonably enough, the streamer accepted his apology. The two shook hands, and the streamer would later on be invited by the wrestling crew to jump in the ring for a skit. They told him that he could pick up the wrestler and do one move on him to make up for what happened, and just like that, the beef was settled. That is, until you realize that the 25-year-old streamer was being watched by hundreds of people in his kick stream, and they all just witnessed the silly mistake on live camera. His chat began poking fun at him. They'd say that he got knocked out from a prop can, and then they'd begin asking the streamer why he just sat back and let it happen. Together, his chat began calling him a coward and something that starts with B and rhymes with glitch. And it didn't help that his father also egged him on by poking fun at how he was hugging a bunch of men in tights.
Hey, yo, did you get jumped by a bunch of dudes in tights?
You said what?
I looked at your stream, you were hugging on some dudes, some booty shorts.
I wasn't hugging on nobody. Fucking pro wrestling show.
Tension slowly simmered in the wrestling arena as the night progressed on. The man began feeling a mixture of pride, anger, and the pressure of being watched by hundreds of people online. And as the verbal jabs continued, his restraint began to crack. These people aren't the only ones to have stories. Everyone comes from a family, and families have stories too. MyHeritage is the leading family history platform trusted by over 90 million users worldwide. On it, you're able to uncover long-lost ancestors, build your family tree, and even bring historical photos back to life with access to its cutting-edge AI tools and 36 billion historical records. When I tried it, I didn't expect much because my family comes from across the world and there really isn't much known about them. But within minutes, the algorithm began revealing faces and names that related to mine. For instance, I never got to meet my grandpa, but now I kind of feel like I know him. To my absolute surprise, I found out that he actually lived in Nigeria, which is a huge country in West Africa, and I'm assuming that it's here where he found my grandmother, because MyHeritage gave me enough context to find out that she was born in a town called Enugu. She lived by the Lukulu River. It also helped me to find out that most of my aunties were actually born in England and Wales, where they attended a couple of boarding schools for years, before eventually moving to the United States with my mother. Then I guess that's where I came into the picture. The Instant Discoveries feature can literally link entire branches to your family tree in just a matter of seconds. And those AI restorations? They made me see my lineage not as history, but as if it were happening right before my eyes in real time. With that being said, if you've ever wondered where your story begins, or what it took for you to get to where you're at, MyHeritage is offering a 14-day free trial right now. So go ahead and start your journey today. Click the link in the description, pinned comment, or scan the QR code on the screen to begin. With that being said, let's get back to the video. He let the comments get to him, and soon enough, he became unable to separate an online chat room from reality. After the wrestler got on stage and began his performance, the streamer would be given the signal to join in. He jumped into the ring and, fueled by adrenaline and rage, he lunged forward at the unsuspecting wrestler and lifted him off the ground by grabbing his legs. For a moment, he carried the wrestler in the air. Everybody cheered and applauded the young man, thinking it was a part of the act. But in a moment, the tone shifted. While still carrying the wrestler in the air, the streamer would slam him onto the ground with such brutal force that it'd instantly knock the man out. Without a moment to waste, the streamer hopped onto the man's body and began unloading a fury of punches to his face. The live stream kept rolling as the wrestler's body went completely limp, and the man continued punching his defenseless head. The crowd began screaming, and a group of wrestlers jumped onto the stage to subdue the streamer and kick him out of the venue. He let his emotions and a stupid live stream get the best of him. And now, because of that, this 39-year-old war veteran who used wrestling as a coping mechanism to fight off his PTSD was fighting for his life in a hospital bed. Within hours, the video had spread across the internet, shocking everybody who watched it. What was meant to be entertainment became evidence. What was meant to build reputation instead destroyed it. Despite fracturing his facial bones, losing multiple teeth, choking on his blood, and suffering severe head trauma. I'm happy to announce that, at the time of this video, Psycho Stu is seemingly in better condition now. The Facebook incident. On a sweltering afternoon in May, a construction site was on the brink of collapse. Flames surrounded the site as workers clung to metal railings inside of the concrete building, and smoke curled from different directions. People became scrambled, abandoning their tools and blaring their alarms as a thick black smoke swallowed the building that they were working on. Many workers escaped the inferno, but inside, 2 men found themselves trapped. They too tried to escape the danger, but due to structural collapse and extreme heat blocking off their escape routes, they found themselves stuck. One of the construction workers thought quickly. He pulled out his phone from his pocket and started a live broadcast to call out for help. His words trembled with desperation. Behind him, flames flickered orange in the haze. Every cough, crack, and distant roar amplified the sense of impending doom. Viewers tuned into his live stream and witnessed the corridor ahead become consumed in flames, leaving behind no exit in sight. The other remaining workers that were trapped in the lower part of the building were rescued by fire crews. Ladders, axes, and officials all came clawing through flame to bring them to safety. They emerged splattered in soot with stained clothes, watering eyes, and burning lungs. But for the 2 construction workers on the higher part of the building, they were still trapped. They continued to cry out for help on the live stream, but due to the amount of smoke that covered the building, visibility became impossible. The building was just moments away from collapsing, so, depressingly enough, the fire crew decided to abandon their rescue mission for the last 2 men. It was just too dangerous. The men remained on livestream calling out for help, but in a split second, it ended abruptly. The building came crumbling down. Afterwards, investigators would later find that safety protocols were neglected, egress routes had been compromised, and the blaze had spread faster than anyone anticipated because of negligence. The livestream became immortalized as the 2 men's shocking last moments alive, but their legacy lives on in the loved ones they left behind. May their souls rest in peace. The Instagram incident. On a warm September night in Buenos Aires, 2 young women and a teen accepted an invitation that promised them some quick money and fun. They received the message through a friend of a friend. Apparently, some people were willing to pay the girls to attend a private party. Delighted by the opportunity, the 3 ladies accepted. Later on, they would arrive at a quiet house in Florencio Varela. But unbeknownst to them, it'd be the last building they'd ever step in. What waited inside wasn't music, dancing, or partying, but rather a masked gang carrying ropes, weapons, and evil intentions. The girls were all accused of stealing something that didn't belong to them. It was a package of illegal items that seemed to carry more weight than their lives ever could in the eyes of the men holding them hostage. They all brought out their phones and went live. 45 exclusive viewers joined in, and just like that, the infamous stream had officially begun. The gang shouted at the woman and told the viewers that this is what happens when people steal from her. The men then began to beat on the captives, while also removing their fingernails from their hands. The beatings continued for a long period of time until they finally stopped the 3 women and ended the stream. Days later, the house was raided. Beneath freshly turned soil in the men's backyard, police uncovered the 3 bodies of the women buried in multiple pieces. The stream had ended, but its echo spread across Argentina, igniting pure outrage and grief. It was no longer just a crime. It became a symbol of how easily life, innocence, and dignity can vanish when cruelty hides behind a camera. Fortunately, however, the police have recently arrested the mastermind behind this atrocity. May these women's souls rest in peace. The live leak incident. On a calm Friday afternoon in Christchurch, prayers had just begun. The sun fell softly over the city as hundreds gathered at Al Noor Mosque, a place of peace, ritual, and routine. Across town, a man sat alone in his car, checking his weapons and pressing the streaming button to go live on Facebook. The broadcast began. He drove slowly toward the mosque, and when he stepped out, his camera followed. He placed his camera on his helmet, then pulled out his weapon and began one of the worst-known atrocities in New Zealand. Fire rang out inside the prayer hall, shattering the calm. Worshippers panicked on camera and scrambled for cover in confusion. In as little as 2 minutes, the live stream showed nothing but pure chaos. Corridors echoed with screams, doors slammed, and footsteps tried running to escape, but it would be to no avail. As worshippers ran out of the mosque and spilled out onto the street, the man walked back outside, reloaded his weapon, and fleeing. And then he drove off and arrived at a second mosque known as the Linwood Islamic Center. Depressingly enough, even more lives were taken at this mosque. Well, that is, until a brave worshipper fought back. Abdulaziz attacked the man with nothing but a credit card machine while ducking and avoiding gunfire. Eventually, the brave man found one of the streamer's used weapons that he had discarded on the ground. He picked it up and chased the man away with it, and then he threw the empty weapon into the back of the man's car window, forcing him to flee. The day was finally saved as police officers later on arrested the man. But what was left behind was 51 human casualties, a city in mourning, and a nation forever changed. The footage exploded all over LiveLeak, where it was re-uploaded numerous times. The situation was so bad that the entire website became blocked by the country's biggest internet providers. New Zealand made significant reform with laws aimed to specific weaponry. A man who attempted to become immortalized through an atrocity failed to realize that he only set the stage to show off the capabilities that human courage can excel to. Rest in peace to every one of these victims, and Abdul's actions has my deepest and most profound respect. We could all learn a thing or two from him. Anyways, with that being said, have yourself a happy day. Don't forget to start your 14-day free trial now by clicking the link below or scanning the QR code, because who knows what incredible stories your family has waiting to be uncovered.